Somewhere in the Pacific, a nuclear submarine slips silently into enemy waters.
Good luck, sir.
Okay, thanks.
You have a full head count?
16 commandos emerge, the advance force in a clandestine operation. The opening move in a plot to invade a neighboring island nation.
USS Kamehameha currently on the southern point of Oahu near Barbers Point, conducting coastal reconnaissance of the Barbers Point industrial facilities.
In the pre-dawn hours, surprise and stealth are their most powerful weapons.
Diving off, sir. All swimmers away.
All swimmers away, aye.
With our particular mission of inserting SEALs, they need a lot of information of beachfront profiles and facilities in order to do insertion, know exactly where the most vulnerable areas are.
Transit to target area, infiltrate over the beach.
The weather, as we saw at the periscope, was very good. 1 to 3 foot seas, the twilight for the launch, and dark for the recovery.
For the covert action to be successful, they must go in and get out before the enemy knows what hit them. Their mission? To supply and support local rebel units staging an armed uprising. In the capital city, tensions mount. More and more, war seems inevitable. Besieged government officials send out an urgent call for help. Allies of both sides converge. Now it's only a matter of time.
Okay, let's do it.
What began as a local and limited conflict will soon escalate into a massive military confrontation. But you will not see this on the evening news. 40 warships, 300 combat planes, 30,000 combat personnel, 2 enormous military machines squared off in the waters surrounding these 2 small island nations. Already, there's more firepower in these few hundred square miles of ocean than was deployed in all of World War II. But there is one difference. This is a peacetime military exercise, among the largest war games the U.S. and its allies have ever staged. Outside the gates of the U.S. Embassy in the fictional country of Pacifica, there's panic in the streets. In the war game scenario, rebel units have swept down out of the hills, terrorizing the civilian population.
What happened?
They started shooting, sir, and he got caught in the leg.
Where were you getting shot at?
Somewhere past these 2 buildings over here, sir. We were just walking back over here.
They reported that they were injured by a hostile force, so we're immediately handling their needs and trying to identify any threat and get out of the country.
The exercise is designed to simulate a highly explosive situation. Everyone here is acting. Military personnel play all the roles: protesters, embassy staff, and civilians. For training purposes, the conflict provides a wide range of dangerous situations, from police action and crowd control to the potential for all-out war.
Today, things are more chaotic than they ever were. They may be on a smaller scale, but they are more chaotic than they will be, and it'll continue to increase that way.
Since the collapse of the Soviet Union, military attention tends to focus on smaller, land-based regional disputes.
The world has changed dramatically in the last 5 to 10 years in how we would fight and who we would fight and where we would fight. When we had the Cold War, we were a blue water navy with a pretty clearly defined enemy. Now we find ourselves aligned with a lot of smaller nations who don't have big navies, but we have to have interoperability with them so that we can coordinate the defense of the sea lanes, particularly in the Pacific and the Southeast Asia area.
Quick, effective military response now depends on the readiness of the world's naval fleets and the ability of diverse nations to work efficiently together. To this end, every 2 years since the early 1970s, the U.S. and its Pacific Rim allies have been honing their military skills by combining forces in an immense war game.
All right, so we'll brief the Admiral with a green to get the SEALs ashore today. Next mission,
Australia,
check out the mission
Canada,
site.
Chile, Japan, South Korea, and the United States take 2 full years to plan a 10-day military exercise known as RIMPAC.
RIMPAC is the capstone maritime exercise in the Pacific Theater. We have 6 nations and the navies of those 6 nations, in addition to 3 air forces from those countries, put together in a large training and exercise package.
Steaming into the theater of conflict is a formidable fleet of ships, planes, and weapons that will make up the 2 opposing battle groups on each side of the war game.
The battle group has as its centerpiece an aircraft carrier, 6,000 people, 70 airplanes. Around us are anywhere from 8 to a dozen ships with various roles and missions, air defense, anti-submarine warfare. We even have submarines attached to the battle group that support us.
Each battle group is a self-contained, multi-dimensional fighting force. Each of the ships, planes, and weapons will play a highly specialized role in the unfolding battles. From the deck of each carrier, RIMPAC commanders can launch planes to defend ships at sea, helicopters to transport troops into battle, reconnaissance warning system, and deep strike jet fighters. From the versatile A-6 Intruder to the ultra-lethal F-14 Tomcat. Together, it's a massive floating war machine, able to strike on land, sea, and in the air. The AAV, the amphibious assault vehicle, is able to strike from sea to land, carrying troops ashore into the war zone, under the cover of firepower from ships at sea and aircraft above.
SonarCon, report all contacts.
Each battle group is essentially a mobile military base with its own strike force, logistics, and intelligence units. Information and reconnaissance capabilities range from state-of-the-art spy satellites to the Lockheed P-3 Orion, one of the most effective long-range patrol aircraft, hunting ships both on the surface and submerged. Beneath the water, the Chilean submarine Simpson is silent and swift. Able to run quiet and deep, it's considered one of the most dangerous hunters in the fleet. The American Los Angeles-class attack sub Honolulu also patrols beneath the surface.
Dive, commandeering eye.
Both attempt to penetrate a battle group's perimeter, targeting the highly prized carriers, destroyers, cruisers, and frigates. In an arsenal of missiles, torpedoes, guns, and bombs, each weapon plays a role in the overall offense or defense of the group.
012, take him with our gun.
And when the big guns go off, a battle group can launch an overwhelming barrage of firepower. Ballistics of all calibers to meet whatever needs arise during the war game battles to come. From a cruiser's rapid-fire phalanx Gatling guns to 2,600-mile-per-hour Sparrow missiles. Over the next 2 weeks, all these weapons and military personnel will be tested in the war game maneuvers. For many, the closest to real combat they will ever come.
Every exercise, to be somewhat realistic, has to be somewhat grounded in the real world. Although the scenario that the exercise is following is not tied to any real-world events per se, there are 2 fictitious nations, namely Pacifica and Capmid, that are having a regional dispute, and the exercise simulates a situation where a cooperating group of maritime nations, of which we're a part, are here to basically try to restore stability in the region.
The war game scenario is set in the Hawaiian Islands. Capmid and Pacifica are countries occupying a group of adjoining islands in the Pacific. Capmid is the aggressor, with units of Special Forces commandos already occupying territory on 2 Pacifica islands. The combined forces of the 6 Pacific Rim countries form 2 naval groups, one supporting Pacifica, the other CapMid. The international fleet supporting Pacifica, led by the carrier Kitty Hawk, gathers 300 miles below CapMid. 500 miles to the west, the battle group supporting CapMid musters within striking distance of Pacifica. Now the firepower of 2 heavily armed navies face off. As in the real world, simply bringing so much weaponry into a confined area immediately enhances the possibility that it will be used. For Rimpac, the Fleet Command ship Coronado will function as the base of operations, directing the entire exercise. Vice Admiral Conrad Lautenbacher.
This is the space on the ship where we control the war game. We have right here the script for the entire play of the events for the entire scenario. And my staff on watch here in the command center controls these events, passes out the information to the various forces in order to allow them to play this game. We control it so the level of play escalates from a peacetime presence up to a full shooting war.
From the Coronado, the order goes out. Let the games begin. The forces in support of CapMid make a bold and aggressive first move, deploying the nuclear submarine USS Honolulu into Pacifica waters. In effect, moving a highly threatening war machine with massive firepower into the enemy's backyard. Commander David Jones.
Right now we're exiting the Pearl Harbor Channel on the base course out of the channel. Every submariner wants to get in water that we can submerge in and dive as quickly as possible. Now this submarine's made for speed. We have an 18-foot diameter propeller, 30,000 shaft horsepower main engines, and it accelerates 7,000 tons at an enormous rate. Looking back behind the ship right now, you see the tremendous weight the ship leaves while it's on the surface.
The immense power of the submarine, in combination with her advanced hull design, gives Honolulu a top speed of over 30 knots.
Venting aft. The decks are awash.
Decks awash, aye.
Captain, the ship is ready for dive. We are in assigned water. Request permission to submerge the ship.
Very well. Hostile deck, submerge the ship.
Submerge the ship, aye, sir. Diving officer, dive, submerge the ship.
Submerge the ship, aye, sir.
Chief of the watch and the 1MC, dive, dive.
Dive! Dive!
4-6, full dive to fair water. 50 feet.
Dive! Dive!
5-2, 5-4, 5-6, 5-8.
The Honolulu acts as a silent stalker, searching for the Pacifica fleet while staying within striking distance of the Pacifica mainland until called on to attack.
No close contact.
As part of RIMPAC, we're going to be assigned to locate and engage the opposing carrier battle group. We have the capability to conduct precision strike, cruise missile tasking using Harpoon missiles against surface ships, launch torpedoes against surface ships and submarines, and also lay mines.
In addition, the Honolulu will be responsible for keeping the highly strategic straits between 2 of Pacifica's islands free of enemy vessels. By opening the game so aggressively, the CapMid team sends a clear signal to the other side. They don't plan to back down. As the games develop, both fleets keep close watch on the other side. A Pacifica surveillance team sets up an observation post to prevent the passage of CapMid ships. In the escalating game of cat and mouse, they keep a tireless vigil over the same straits the Honolulu patrols from beneath the surface.
I'm the lookout for the unit. I'm basically the eyes. The sonar unit can listen in the water, and radar can pick up contacts that are a little further out, but they can't usually tell what they are. We're monitoring the choke point that certain ships might pass through, and the islands to the west, we've got a pretty good view of what's between this island and that one, and if they try to sneak through, we'll get them.
The payoff. A ship is spotted. In the RIMPAC scenario, the supply ship USS Deal plays the part of a merchant vessel named Special K. Mission unknown.
Merchant vessel, Special K, this is U.S. Navy warship out your port beam, channel 10, over.
The Pacifica Command deploys the USS Cushing to intercept the Special K and search for arms.
We're a ship that's engaged in innocent passage in accordance with international law. What would you like from us?
Special K, this is Navy warship. What is your cargo that you are carrying today? Over.
Both sides are now on a hair trigger and proceed with extreme caution.
My cargo that is bound for Hilo, Hawaii is as follows. It's kerosene, some lubrication oil, machinery parts, and boats, over.
One false move at this point could lead to all-out war.
U.S. Navy warship off my port beam. This is merchant vessel Special K. This is the master speaking. What are your intentions with my ship, over?
Special K, this is U.S. Navy warship Cushing. My intentions are to close to 1,000 yards off your port bow, over.
Suspecting gun running, the Cushing dispatches an armed boarding party to inspect the deal.
Okay, do you understand the reason for the UN sanctions? Do you understand the situation we have right now with Captain?
Not exactly, no.
Okay, in the areas we've been finding arms smuggling and military supplies being smuggled from Catmid to Pacifica. And that's the reason we're boarding, to make sure we're supporting the UN sanctions on that. Okay. So you have, you weren't aware of those sanctions placed?
We have 4 of these lifeboats, 2 on each side.
We're trying to prevent Catmid from getting stores and military equipment into Pacific. We do have guns trained. We have the necessary might to basically take the ship down if there's a problem, or if they try to run, we can disable her. That's not a problem.
Okay, is this clean for you, or good enough?
Their paperwork is not in order. Okay. So that's my main discrepancy.
Though empty now, it's possible the Special K has already dropped off its arms to Catmid forces and is heading back to pick up more. On the other hand, it might just be an innocent vessel in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right now we're at a point in the war where it hasn't escalated. There's certain skirmishes, and the two battle groups are starting to get in contact with each other. This is obviously not a time to start an outbreak. We want to keep things at the lowest level possible.
Far to the south, the Canadian destroyer Regina joins the Pacifica fleet. She's gotten wind of a submarine patrolling for Catmid.
Okay, given the submarine's last known position, where does the furthest on circle at her best speed put the submarine now?
Sonar tells Regina that the contact is not the nuclear-powered Honolulu, but probably the conventional submarine Natsushio. Though diesel-powered and without the speed or range of a nuclear sub, she has one advantage that makes her even more of a threat: silence. On full alert, Regina has no choice but to hunt the potentially dangerous hunter.
Check the code on, make sure you know.
They're very difficult to find, and we're hopeful that we can get a sniff of something tonight.
Busy afternoon. We're repositioning around this submarine contact who penetrated the screen and who's pushing his way in towards the amphibious group.
In addition to locating and tracking the submarine, Regina has the mission of protecting a group of slower ships aiming to join the Pacifican fleet.
Right now, as we look over there, we can see the 2 helicopters are both in the dip, so they're both looking for the submarine using active acoustics. The 2 helicopters are on either side of the submarine. My assumption is that he's straddled in between, and they're just tracking his progress as he goes along. And if they close within a certain range of the submarine, they can drop the torpedo and it'll home directly in on the submarine and make contact and hopefully kill the enemy. That's the idea.
And normally these guys are buried away beneath the surface, but in waters like this, where the water's very clear, visual search by an aircraft, for example, is very effective. And this is a conventional submarine, and so he is obliged to come up to the surface and get air, run his diesel engine so that he can charge his battery, and that provides us with quite an excellent detection opportunity. So we do exploit that whenever we can.
The submarines use a variety of tactics to avoid detection. In waters such as these off Hawaii, the water is very deep, so they can go very, very deep to try and avoid our sonars. That may or may not work because sound carries up to the surface. But submariners are wily people, and they can find layers of cold temperatures versus hot temperatures that stop the sound. So that's how they try to avoid detection, by hiding underneath the cold layers of water so that our sonars can't find them. Ah, yellow smoke. It looks like the submarine launched another attack in that position just directly astern of us, and the helicopters are coming around to where they think the submarine is right now. It's quite clear that they lost contact on him over there, and now they have to reposition to try to regain contact. I hate to say it, but in this instance, I think the submarine is winning.
Well, we can't find the submarine, and we only spend so long in one place looking for the submarine before it's time to pick up our gear and go somewhere else to look for it. What we're doing right now is we know we can at least outrun the submarine. We're faster than her. The whole group's come up to 24 knots. We're headed south, and we're going to set up another barrier between ourselves and the submarine. We're really in not a lot of danger right now, just except for the submarine, but it's the amphibious group that needs to worry. And so if she does get down there and get through us again, then she can get an open shot at any one of the large ships.
Tensions build with each encounter. Now it's simply too dangerous for the fleets not to assume they're in extreme jeopardy at all times. The two teams are squared off, locked, loaded, and ready to fire. It's not yet war, but peace is a thing of the past. At times like this, information and intelligence becomes critical. Pacifica deploys a C-140 Aurora patrol plane. Commander J. Tweed briefs Pacifica's pilots.
Situation remains about the same, getting a little tenser as it were. Every new incident has the potential to escalate the crisis between Cap Mid and Pacifica. Sanctions are in effect against the rebel insurgents in Pacifica, and only food, fuel, medicine, and clothing is being allowed through. Insurgent forces remain in control of several large areas, both on this island and on the island to the west of us.
Pacifica's next move is critical, to locate and evaluate the strength and numbers of her enemy.
Finding the carrier, that's your #1 mission, but we need good log data. We need to build a good picture of all the players. So get out there, sally forth, do your best.
The Canadian Aurora craft is a maritime hunter with an operating range of 2,500 miles. It's capable of locating and destroying enemy surface and submarine forces.
Any perceived direct threat to Cap Mid sovereignty could be used as justification by them for direct military action. So watch your step.
The Pacifica Aurora mission uses sonobuoys to search for the Cap Mid fleet.
What we do is we drop hydrophones into the water, and they're basically little microphones which will listen. We drop patterns of those, and by analyzing the sound, we can determine if there's a hostile or friendly warship or submarine in the area.
Hydrophones pick up the telltale sounds of the engines and propellers of surface and submerged ships. This information is radioed up to the Aurora for analysis and identification.
All of our launches from here on are going to be at really odd hours during the day. We're going to be flying all night long, and we're going to have to basically have our wits about us. So we'll try and do our best even though we're tired.
The Aurora can remain airborne for over 12 hours. As darkness gives way to dawn, the Canadian aircrew hits pay dirt.
Okay, right now it looks like fortune has favored us a bit. We've just about completed the search of our area, and we found a contact with our radar, which we've measured to be somewhere around 900 feet long, which would correlate with the enemy carrier quite well.
Their radars picked up what appears to be the USS Independence, but they need to get closer for positive identification.
Right now we're trying to approach what we believe is the carrier in a non-threatening flight pattern. So right now we're looking in towards the carrier, trying to get a more accurate measurement of her. Maybe get close enough to take some pictures or something, who knows. So things are shaping up kind of nicely.
Pacifica radar is zeroed in on the CapMed battle group. Whether or not they believe Pacifica is planning to attack, once their carrier is located, they must go on alert. That means arming and launching their planes. And once Pacifica sees CapMed planes in the air, they have no choice but to respond in kind. The pilots and Rios gear up.
We'll be going out for 2 hours, a lot longer than we normally go out. We don't know when the enemy's coming or how many.
We're hoping to see some F-15s out there. The Air Force has got some F-111s and some F-15s, as well as some contract Learjets. So hopefully we'll get to see some of those guys rooting around trying to find the battle group. And that's basically our job today. Pick them out on the radar and keep them from getting too close.
The battle will be fought using the highest technology available. Because the range of their weapons is so extended, the combatants may be firing at an enemy up to 50 miles away.
I guess normal dogfighting like you see in the movies isn't really what we're going to do today. Hopefully, if we do our mission correctly, we never see the enemy. And we find them on radar and kill them before they're even a factor to us at long range.
On the opposing carrier, Kitty Hawk, F-18s are called back to rearm and refuel for a potential skirmish with CapMed forces.
614, you're cleared to Charlie, spot 4 in order.
The man in charge of Pacifica's attack is Rear Admiral Timothy Beard.
As the air component commander, I've got the responsibility to make sure that we have all the air at the right place at the right time, so we can bring it to bear against the evil side of CapMed. We on Kitty Hawk will work down here to the south off of the big island of Hawaii, and the first stage will be against the air forces of CapMed that will be flying against us. So we have got to devise a plan that we stop them from coming in on the carrier, we shoot them down, and we work the offensive counter-air and the defensive counter-air aspect of this plan. Once we get control of the air, then we can start going to support the Pacifica forces.
Admiral Beard will deploy an Air Force AWACS plane as an airborne tactical control center. Its sophisticated radar and communications equipment will provide F-18 pilots with crucial information and instructions during the battle. It can direct up to 80 pilots at one time from a height of 40,000 feet.
Being up high, you can employ a radar and communication system much better because you've got such a great look-down capability. Gives us truly the advantage over a ground-based system that might be blocked by mountains or terrain, that kind of thing. So it's wonderful being up here having the God's eye view. 411's coming southbound. What do you got for another cap?
Going 2 o'clock, 2 miles, 4,000 feet.
The USS Independence launches a smaller but equally effective airborne control center, an E-2 Hawkeye, to provide intelligence to CapMed forces. It can simultaneously track 2,000 targets and control up to 20 air engagements. The CapMed pilots prepare to face their enemy.
I'm gonna wipe off the helmet. Helps us see the bad guys here. Can't have dirty glasses. Unfortunately, since it's an exercise, when we do kill those bogeys, they probably will keep on coming, and they'll say we didn't do our job, and we'll say we did ours, but we know we did it, because we usually do. So, we'll see you on deck.
Although the F-14 is an old system, it's a good system, but it takes a lot of user interface here. So the backseat guy really has his hands full running the radar and working the intercept geometry. My primary job here is to run the radar effectively and efficiently. I also talk on the radios and then give whatever co-pilot support to the pilot he needs. You got 2 sets of eyeballs, and that should be a very big benefit to us when we're out there today fighting these guys.
Their enemy, F-18 pilots flying for Pacifica, take off from the Kitty Hawk.
Set him up.
Tomcat, 540, clear deck.
540 Tomcat, clear deck.
107 camp affirmative.
Okay.
Below decks in the Kitty Hawk's Combat Information Center, the air crackles with tension.
Kilo copies and report BDA to Kilo as soon as you can.
We have a force which is very young in age, 19, 20, 21 years old, and they do absolutely amazing things when they go to sea. These are kids that you wouldn't trust the keys to the family car with 2 years ago. Now they're entrusted with $40 million airplanes, and they make a complex operation where 30,000 people must do everything in time and in sequence and together, and they do it all.
Though this electronic battle is bloodless, the stakes are high.
The hostile force is approximately 160 miles southeast of the Kitty Hawk. We expect the strike to take place in approximately 30 minutes.
The Cap-Mid F-14 Tomcats now take to the skies. Maximum ceiling, 56,000 feet. Speed, 1,500 miles per hour. Combat range, close to 500 miles.
411, Gorilla, bullseye 045, 28 maneuvering. Go. Who's making the track report call?
For the Pacifica team in the AWACS, attention now focuses intensely on their battlefield, a radar screen.
Let's keep it off this guy, go down and find out this is one of our guys right there. Give him a vector, 180.
They give pinpoint instructions to their F-18 pilots.
What do we know about that guy?
Nothing. Buck 1, merge bogey. He should be right on top of me.
The Cap-Mid F-14s break formation and prepare to engage.
You gotta get him down there. Give him a 190 vector and a broad point out. So this is your new target now. Get him on a vector like this to make that happen. Skip this guy, we're not gonna get him. We're gonna try and get this guy, but we gotta get him really heated up.
Okay.
Fights on, fights on.
Kitty Hawk's F-18s take up positions on their side of the fight.
107 is up.
107 or 701?
107. 2 o'clock, 2 miles, 4,000 feet.
Air-to-air missiles fly in electronic simulations. The two sides square off. The advantage shifts furiously as the fighters jockey for the best shot at their enemy.
You gotta get this guy going.
Got it, got it. 4-1, bogey, 4, 10. Right on. 107, Charles, stay with that.
Then, a perfect shot by a Cap-Mid F-14.
Leaker.
Say it again.
It's a kill. One F-18 flying for Pacifica, down.
Passing it. Just put it out as a kill call.
Heading home. Pilot and Rio return and claim their victory for the Cap-Mid team.
It was a good time. We only saw a couple F-15s out there, but we took care of them. Yeah, they didn't make it in. Yeah, it was a pretty good flight. Our TCS system was nice, and we just looked up there. Didn't quite have the fuel to go chasing them. Just take a look up there, we see their F-15s, and pass that to the ship, who eventually shoots them down. So it all worked out super.
In the first battle of the simulated war, Cap-Mid forces take the advantage. Pacifica lost 3 jet fighters, an F-18 shot down in the air battle, and 2 F-15s blown out of the sky by surface-to-air missiles. Pacifica's allies do not sit idle as 3 of their planes are lost to Cap-Mid forces. The Aegis cruiser USS Cowpens carefully scrutinizes the airspace over the theater of conflict. Using its phased array radar, the cruiser watches for any signs of Cap-Mid air missions. Air crews flying out of Cap-Mid territory are briefed on their mission. Find the Cowpens and provide targeting information for a retaliation strike. Preparing their P-3 Orion, they load sonobuoys, which will help them with their search. Near the end of its 12-hour flight, the Orion pinpoints the cruiser. As the Cap-Mid P-3 converges on the cruiser, she's picked up and identified as a threat by the Cowpens radar.
TO Air, 10 seconds to launch. This is Delta, roger out.
The Cowpens launches a standard missile at an unmanned drone aircraft standing in for the Orion. Traveling at close to 2,000 miles per hour, the standard missile can shoot down targets up to 40 miles away. Cap-Mid allies have lost a valuable intelligence-gathering aircraft. Both sides have now felt the sting of anti-aircraft weapons. The advantage is still in favor of Cap-Mid. At the U.S. Embassy in Pacifica's capital, the situation is critical. Foreign nationals as well as Pacificans are demanding to be evacuated.
They've attempted to breach our wall and come in and enter the embassy.
The battle group commander decides to call in Marines for reinforcement, but they're 20 miles offshore. With Pacifica's capital city under siege by Cap-Mid-backed rebels, war now seems inevitable. But for the Marine unit waiting to come ashore, the evacuation of civilians is the first order of business. To take advantage of a surprise landing, the Marines and sailors will have to wait for dawn. Sergeant Ryan Shane.
Where the first time Marines have ever been aboard is now. A lot of the sailors on here never been with Marines before. A lot of the Marines are new and have never been the Navy. But so far, the chow's good, and the living spaces are good. The air conditioning keeps running. So we haven't had much problem with the Navy yet, but Navy Marine Corps has a pretty good team.
The situation around the embassy itself, we have hostels there. What kind of, is it built up? Are they protesting there? How many people are going to be there? What way we're going to go in? How we're going to set up? What mission you're going to have?
Violence of action, do we need to go in and just start, you know, if they start firing us, fire back at them, take them out, do what we have to do?
We're harder than woodpecker lips. We're ready to go. We're ready to face any challenge. We have a lot of discipline, and discipline makes the best Marine.
Preparing for their rescue mission, the Marines from the Essex load men and equipment during the pre-dawn hours.
The nature of the mission is a little bit different from what we're used to seeing. We're here to help other American citizens and help the people of the country we're supporting. And we're not going ashore to be the big, nasty American. We're going there to help people.
The Marine rescue of a besieged embassy simulates hostilities our military could soon face in the real world.
Okay.
11th MEU Commander Colonel Robert Bloss.
The Marines have 21 different missions we can perform. One of those is the non-combatant emergency evacuation operation, and it's one we train for, and it's one we plan for whenever we deploy. We recent experience with that off the coast of Liberia, certainly in Somalia in January of 1991, conducted a NEO from that particular area, Saigon in past years, and also Phnom Penh, Lebanon. So it's a mission that is a very viable one for the Marine Expeditionary Units.
From the well deck of the ship, LCACs emerge. These huge air-cushioned landing craft will transport men and vehicles from ship to shore. LCACs replaced the Amtraks and Higgins boats used by Marines in World War II. Chief Warrant Officer Ed Coffer remembers.
I think the Marine Corps started amphibious warfare. We always served aboard the naval ships. We used to put the nets over the side of the boats. We'd get detailed instructions on how to go down the net. They'd also tell you never look up, because if you looked up, sure enough, that guy with the machine gun would drop the machine gun down and kiss you in the face. I was on the beach of Iwo Jima remembering where people that I had met through the years had landed on that day in 1945. And the slope of the beach was tremendous. It looked like you would just step off the edge of the cliff. And I said, my God, how did they get the boats on this beach? Sure enough, they did. And they did it quite successfully. All the lessons we learned from those early boats, the Higgins boats, the Mike boats, are incorporated here today. And it cost us a lot of lives.
LCACs have revolutionized beach landings and made the saying, no beach out of reach, a reality. 4 gas turbine engines with over 12,000 combined horsepower provide the lift and thrust to carry it over the water.
Big advantage is speed. We can go up to 50 knots. We can transit from quite a long way out to sea, hit the beach, drop off our troops, and head on back out there in a short period of time. My concerns here, I've got a tree off to my starboard that I don't want to run into, as well as some rocks on my port side, so I just going to try to keep her lined up here. Run straight up with speed control.
While being a large, visible target, the LCAC can survive enemy shore fire due to its redundant engine systems and durable air cushion bladder.
It can move up on the beach. We don't get our feet wet anymore. It's kind of like a roller coaster going in. Sometimes your stomach can start tossing a little bit. So if you're not very good with moving around quickly, it can be a little upsetting, but all in all, it's a very safe, smooth, comfortable ride.
In just 40 minutes, 130 Marines and 50 tons of equipment have traveled over 20 miles. At dawn, the Marines head for the embattled embassy.
Impressive, this is impressive. 6 whiskey over. Roger, we're moving up to your pause, over. Roger, out. Last one.
They quickly secure the embassy and the rebels disperse. Marines station themselves on the roof of the embassy and erect a barricade in front of the building. They're now on the lookout for a rebel contingent that's been identified in the area. However, they're unaware that a sniper is closing in. On the roof of the embassy, Marines spring to action and attempt to take out the sniper while a squad on the ground advances toward the gunfire.
Got movement over there.
In the confusion of gunfire, they're not sure if the sniper's acting alone.
Here he comes. Hey, Boo, you watch over there. Got it?
definite headshot. That was a headshot.
Is he dead? That's it. Sniper was killed. Good shot. Good shot, guys. He's dead.
With the embassy secure, U.S. citizens and friendly civilians can be evacuated from Pacifica's embattled capital.
We'll get a doctor.
I'm the foreman, sir.
Okay.
With the Cap Mid-backed commandos defeated and the area around the capital returned to Pacifica control, Cap Mid finally agrees to begin peace negotiations. Whether their intentions are genuine or they're simply playing for time remains to be seen. On western Pacifica, a small, well-armed group of Cap Mid commandos consolidates and strengthens its foothold in captured territory.
We camp out here, we set up a hooch because we all have to stay in our hole, man our hole. During the night, you have a 25% watch. One person's up for approximately about 2-hour shifts. We have 3 Marines here. We're going out on patrol tonight, so we're here trying to get some sleep and resting up to get so we're ready and alert tonight on patrol. Our gunner will stay on watch.
Whenever they come out of their LCACs, I'm gonna wait till I see personnel coming out. As soon as the first person I see coming out, I'm gonna start lighting them up, laying down a wall of lead.
The Cap Mid beachhead is 400 miles from their homeland, but war's heating up there as well. Pacifica Intelligence reports a Cap Mid weapons factory supplying mines and other arms to commando units occupying Pacifica territory. The Pacifica Battle Group commander deploys a special forces unit into Cap Mid territory to locate the factory. Aircraft from the Pacifica team's carrier Kitty Hawk will support the SEALs mission.
The SEALs will be our eyes on the ground. This air wing has practiced with these guys prior to coming out here, and they do some marvelous work, and we can be assured that we're going to hit the exact target that they want us to because they're actually on the ground designating the target with a laser.
Using the cover of darkness, the SEAL team advances inland towards the target.
We like to use nightfall to get in stealthy. Nobody can see you moving around. The rigors of it is it's definitely not an easy job. When you're talking about carrying 110 pounds worth of gear over extreme land like the lava right now. Here we are, I got guys with me that just won't stop it, whatever it takes to get the job done.
Locating the target is the responsibility of the SEALs on the ground. Destroying it is the job of the pilots of Fighter Attack Squadron 22.
You who aren't really sure who the good guys were, we're on this side. We're on the side of Pacifica going against the bad guys at Cap Mid. One of our favorite targets to go at, a little 8-mile box here in the middle of the big island, and we're going to be striking a mine storage facility in there and also an SA-2 site. They know we're coming. The enemy response, we're expecting a pretty robust response from these guys as well as the SAMs in the target area.
Today, the weapon of choice is a laser-guided bomb. The GBU-12 can be dropped from as high as 20,000 feet, up to 10 miles from the target. Some of the F-18s will carry a smaller practice version of the laser-guided bomb.